So I realized there is a lot of intelligent, hardworking people that have absolutely no idea how to structure their life. And so I designed a system which I call the complete productivity system that anyone can apply to actually start maximizing your time so that any unit of work that you do has the most results. So the first question is, what do I want? And feel free to be as selfish as possible here. In fact, you should be as selfish as possible. So this could be, I want to build a new business. I want to start a family. I want to get jacked. What are your biggest goals? And be specific here. Most people have some sort of idea what they want, but it's good to make it specific and clear. So write it down. Write it down somewhere. Ideally, you would write it down in some task management software. Obviously, I use Vectal. So this is what I would define, scale a company to 100 billion, and I would specify it, scale my AI company to 100 billion, right? So I'm going to actually show you how this would apply for myself, but feel free to apply this to your own life because it can work truly for anybody. Once you have the answer, what do I want? So I'm going to fill it out for me. Build a 100 billion company. Boom. The next thing you need to ask yourself is, what is my long-term plan? Now here is where a lot of people drop off. They have something that they want, right? They want to get rich, they want to get in shape, lose weight, but they don't have a plan. This is absolutely essential, right? What is your long-term plan? Notice long-term, because short-term, you're probably not setting big goals if you can achieve them in the short term, right? So make sure that you have a long-term plan. So this could be a bit harder than what do I want, because all of us have some desires, some wants, whether it's given to us by our parents, by our friends, by society, by ourselves, by a religion, doesn't matter. You want some things, you have some desires. But creating a long-term plan can be more difficult, right? So LLMs, large language models, also known as AI, can be incredibly helpful, right? So I can say, given my long-term goals, help me design a long-term plan. Now, the beauty of Vectal is that it is fully integrated with your user context, right? So you can find the user context right here. And given I mentioned my long-term goal, I don't have to repeat it. The chat agent already knows it. You can see I didn't mention the goal and it perfectly knew it. So here is a roadmap, and obviously we can refine on that. But if you don't know what to do, having AI help you out is huge. So this is one of the main uses of AI, getting clarity and structure, right? So once you have a long-term goal, we can add it here. Scale a company to 100 billion. And also you can add your work description, which helps a lot. So I'm a founder of Vectal.ai, which is an AI-powered productivity app. That way it knows what you do on your day-to-day basis, right? Whether it is your job, whether it is your business, whether you're a student, doesn't matter. More context, the better, right? So once you have a long-term plan, which is going to be, for me, again, I'm going to show you how I build it out. Build the best possible product powered by AI. So that is my plan of getting to 100 billion. Build a great product, better than all the other alternatives, and make it powered by AI, because all the other softwares currently are not AI first, right? So that is the differentiator. Now, again, a lot of people know what they want, and if you're watching this, you're probably ambitious, you're probably intelligent, so you probably have some sort of a plan. The next part is where a lot of people get stuck, and this is something actually you can observe people like Elon Musk doing really well. Identifying the biggest short-term obstacle. So if you study how Elon Musk works, he actually delegates absolutely everything in his life, except for the biggest obstacles and roadblocks in his companies, right? So Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, XAI, whatever is the biggest problem at the moment, the biggest obstacle, he goes there and he helps solve it. So notice how these steps link up next to each other, right? So first you need to know what you want to then design your long-term plan. It kind of doesn't work otherwise, right? So if you don't know what you want, you cannot have a plan. If you don't have a plan, you cannot identify what your short-term obstacles are. And again, this is going to be different for everybody. But for me, I can specify it like so. So build the best possible product powered by AI. And you can honestly rewrite this. As you work on this, you should be clarifying your vision. Now, I want to make something very clear. These two top fields should not really change, right? Like obviously there can be some dramatic life event where you change your main goals, or maybe you build a company, it fails, and then you pivot to a different company and you have a different long-term plan. However, you shouldn't be changing these really on a yearly basis. Like this should be a constant for years and decades. Otherwise, you're never going to reach anything. If you're constantly changing your goals and if you're constantly changing your plans, you're never gonna succeed because you cannot stick with something. So these two should be constant, right? That's why you should put a lot of thought, a lot of careful, deep thinking time into these. And once you have them, they should pretty much never change. Now these short-term obstacle, and as we go down, these should change more and more. But short-term obstacle, this one should ideally change pretty often, right? Because if it's not changing, you're probably not working hard enough or intensely enough. So your biggest short-term obstacles should be different. And this depends completely on your execution speed, but also on the ambition of your goal, right? So because if your goal is big, then maybe the obstacle is like, hiring, and it could be that for a while the business is still growing, right? So do not stress on this too much, but this should be changing a lot more often than this. The plan and the main goals should stay constant. So what is my biggest short-term obstacle? Well, again, I'm going to answer it for myself. And it has to be slow MRR growth. Now, I'm going to clarify that because that's not good enough. Slow MRR growth. This is MRR stands for monthly recurring revenue. So basically, slow revenue growth. We are growing, right? Vectal is growing. People are loving the product, but slowly. Way slower than I would like. Definitely way slower than it's possible to reach 100 billion company, right? It has to grow way faster. Even if I live to 100 years old, 120 years old, it needs to grow way faster to reach 100 billion valuation. So let's unpack this a bit, because this step, these two could be relatively easy, but this one needs a bit of unpacking. So slow MRR growth. Now why? This is not efficient enough, right? It's not sufficient. This is too broad, too vague. Well, it is because of high churn, right? So if you don't know what churn is basically how many customers or revenue you lose per month, right? So you can calculate either revenue churn or customer churn. Basically, whatever you had at the start of the month, same customers at the end of the month, how many are remaining. New customers don't count, right? Because you can technically out-promote yourself out of churn, but you're still a bleeding bucket. You're still a bucket with full of holes, right? So slow MRR growth due to high churn. Currently, we have a higher churn than we would like. So this is already much better, right? Knowing what short-term obstacle is. High churn. We could honestly continue, but I'm going to unpack it one level further because high churn can be caused by hundreds of different things. I'm going to say due to poor onboarding and lots of bugs. This is just a current situation. Now, these two are different, right? Because onboarding is what a new user encounters in the app. And the issue with the current onboarding is that it doesn't explain the full power of Vectal. For example, with the chat agent, you can interact fully, you can have it create tasks, you can have it do web search. For example, like it's to say, give me latest news relevant to my goal. Browse the web. And we have actually integrated Perplexity Pro. So if you use Vectal, you have Perplexity Pro for free. So you can see it uses this tool, but it's not obvious, right? If you look at this product, you don't see all the power of the integrated AI features, which is causing churn. Now the bugs, these are more for like advanced users like myself, because I have hundreds of tasks, I have hundreds of ideas, I have a team plan with like many employees, right? So I'm the one who feels all of the bugs. For new users, they never encounter most of these bugs, but these are both causing churn, because the bugs are causing churn to the advanced users like myself, and the poor onboarding is losing people from becoming paying users at the beginning, right? So I'm just being completely honest here, maybe even too honest. But again, I told you I'm gonna apply this complete productivity system and show you how to actually go through it for my current situation, right? So I unpack this 3 levels so that we have something way more specific. And even this level would be good, second level would be good, but slow MRR growth, that's too vague, right? You can apply that to any business. Any business, you can say that it has slow revenue growth. Or, you want to grow the revenue faster. I think every business wants that. So let's go to the next level, right? So actually, long-term plan, biggest short-term obstacle. And this I'm going to copy, and I'm going to go into Vectal, open up my user context, and I'm going to add it to the short-term focus, right? I'm going to say, solve the biggest short-term obstacle. And I'm going to paste it in. Slow MRR growth due to high churn, due to poor onboarding, and also bugs, save changes, right? And now, Vectal knows that. So I can create a new channel. I can say, give me some practical, actionable things I can do to resolve my short-term biggest obstacle or roadblock. So you don't have to be a creative genius. That's the beauty of the system, right? All you need to know is like, what do you want roughly? Then you need to have a long-term plan. And then you can use AI to resolve your issues, right? Your biggest short-term obstacle is slow MRR growth due to high churn caused by poor onboarding and lots of bugs. Here's a concise, actionable roadmap for you as a founder. Notice how I didn't even put that much context. You can see that this is low context, this is moderate context. All of these could be filled in way more. But even with such a little context, the AI is already beyond helpful, right? Analyze churn data. Identify exactly where users are dropping off. Super valuable, super relevant to me. Find out which bugs are most frequently reported. Because every software has bugs. However, if a bug happens 1 in 1 million times, it's probably not worth fixing. But if a bug happens to every other user, that is a bug that you should fix ASAP. Improve onboard experience, simplify and streamline, adding getting started checklist, interactive tours. This is literally what we're adding. So this is really good idea. Rapid bug fixing, prioritize top 5 bugs. Yeah, I mean, these are insanely good and relevant to me. So I'm going to say, great suggestions. Now turn these into actionable tasks. This is the beauty of the chat agent. It can really interact with the UI and create actionable tasks. So before we do that, actually, let me go to the next step, which is, how can I eliminate it? Right? What can we do to eliminate the short-term obstacle? And this is basically what I asked right here. So here we have the 11 potential things we can do. I'm not going to add all 11 because this is actually one of the biggest dangers of productivity is overwhelm and overload. So we're going to do some micro, aka some organization. I'm going to open up the sidebar and I'm going to create a new project. I'm going to name it software or just business. Description, grow my AI company to 100 billion valuation. Then I'm going to use the one-click AI feature to generate the system prompt, which is quite optimized, to be honest. So you can see this generate a system prompt for a project. This is another thing that you will not find in any other software, apart from Vectal, is task management divided into projects where each project has a system prompt, right? So let me select the color and create a project. And when I click on it, so boom, activate business, you can see it's activated right here and right here. The chat agent knows I'm working on this project. So let's say you have, different projects like fitness, gardening, family, studying, whatever, right? It knows exactly what you're working on. And you can have a custom system prompt that's optimized for this project. That way, the AI agent and the AI suggestions are even more helpful than they are by default. Right? So I can collapse it. And then out of these, I can select the ones that I actually like. So let's look at it. 1, 2, okay. So 1 is good, 2 is good, 3 is good, 4, 5, 6. I mean, all of these are pretty good, to be honest. 7. Okay, 8 is kind of whatever. We can skip 8. This is really good. Okay, so basically everything except for 8. I like all of these ideas except for idea number 8. Now actually create them inside of the business project. right? So we've created this project named Business. And now what I want the chat agent to do is take these ideas, except for number 8, because that one wasn't that good, and create them so we can actually have them, right? A lot of people have the things that they need to do inside of their head. If you have to remember all the things you have to do, you probably don't have that much things on your plate, and your goals probably aren't ambitious enough. Or you write it down on a piece of paper, which is already better than trying to remember it, because you're inevitably going to forget something. But a piece of paper is very slow, right? You type, like you write, even if you write fast with your pen, you still write only at like 20 or 30 words per minute. If you type on a keyboard and you're above average individual, you probably type it at like 60 to 70. I type in at like 120, 130 words per minute, which is way faster than I can write on a piece of paper, right? Now, a pro tip, you can actually speak even faster. You can probably speak at 200 words per minute, right? So you can say, help me analyze my tasks, reorganize them. Right now, they're all in the same priority. So just change their importance so that the highest leverage ones are the highest priority. Notice how I can speak that way faster than any of us can write, whether it is on a piece of paper or in a software. Now, another reason why using piece of paper isn't really serious is that it's not in the cloud. So you cannot access it from different locations, right? Maybe you're traveling, maybe you're somewhere in the city on a walk in a forest, and you want to look at what you wrote down, but you didn't bring your paper with you. Problem. But you probably always have your phone or your laptop or your desktop computer or your iPad. So if it's on the web, right, such as in Vectal, you can access it from anywhere. Another issue with the paper method is that there's no AI to help you out. Notice how incredibly helpful AI was. Even if I was the least creative individual in the world, right? And I'm telling you, out of these 10, so how many we ended up creating? 10 tasks. And by the way, you can see the AI updated their importance so that it's actually sorted for me from the highest leverage ones. So now I know in what order I should do them, by the way. That's a side note. But even if I wasn't doing these, and we're already doing some of these, and I was completely stuck, or I don't know what to do, this is a big problem, I just got 11 hyper-relevant suggestions. And to be honest, 10 out of these 11 were pretty good. 8 is whatever. It's not very scalable. That's why I don't like it. Most of the other ones we're already doing because they're actually clear targeted solutions to the biggest short-term obstacle, right? So how can I eliminate it? Well, let's go through it. Add monitoring, identify critical important user journeys, and then implement unit testing for them, right? So these are probably the highest leverage things we can do to eliminate the short-term obstacle. So we're 80% of the way there from this complete productivity system. Now, most productivity systems, have one or two issues, or both issues. They're either too abstract, right? So it's all about the big goal and what do you want to do, what do you want to attract, blah, blah, blah. So they're not practical enough. Or they're just a to-do list for today, which is only urgencies, right? In the moment, what do I need to do? Oh, this person is calling me. Oh, I'm got a notification here. Oh, I need to pick up the mail. Only short-term urgencies that are not relevant to any of your long-term goals. So these are the two biggest issues I see with most productive systems. Either they are too vague and too abstract, or they are too in the day, too urgent, and not structured enough. The reason I call it complete productivity is because it goes from the big picture, the longest possible, biggest goals you have in life, to your literal plan to today, which is the last step actually. So what's the best way I can structure today? So once you know your biggest short-term obstacle and how you can eliminate it, which you have right here, you ask yourself, what is the best way I can structure today, right? If you sleep 8 hours, you have 16 hours. Let's say you go to school, you have work, and maybe, you have to go to work, whatever. Okay, you only have 8 hours left. Okay, then you have 1 hour, mandatory eating, whatever, you have 7 hours left, right? Depending on how much time you have, basically, how can you spend the time that you have? How can you best structure that time so that you can achieve your long-term goals as soon as possible, or a better question is, as likely as possible? Because a lot of people want to get rich quick, they want to lose weight fast, and these almost always backfire. One thing I learned is that you cannot cheat the universe. if you want to progress through life, you get the progress that you deserve. If you want to make money too fast, you end up either doing something illegal or falling for some scam. If you want to lose weight too fast or, get jacked too fast, you end up taking steroids. If you want to lose weight too fast, you end up developing an eating disorder, right? Or something like that. Basically, you cannot cheat the universe. You get the progress and the rate of improvement that you deserve. So, the better question is, what's the best way I can structure today so that I have the highest likelihood of reaching my goals as quickly as possible? So, I would much rather hit my goals 99% guaranteed and it take 2 years than 50-50 and it takes 1 year, whatever. That's a pretty bad example, but you get my point, right? So you want both speed and reliability and accuracy and highest likelihood of possible, right? So now that we have some tasks, you can ask yourself, what's your best way to structure today to achieve them? And to be honest, this is my prompt that I sent right here. Help me analyze my tasks, reorganize them. Right now they're in the same priority, right? So once you have a bunch of things you can do to solve the biggest issue, and obviously this is a pretty short list. Here we have 10, which is better than just 3. The next issue is like, what do you actually do, right? First issue is, I don't know what to do. There's some people who have trouble brainstorming ideas and tasks, but there's some people like me who have way too many tasks. So that's where prioritization comes into place. And that's where telling the AI context on yourself is essential. So we can probably add this as some of the highest leverage moves, right? In other contexts, highest leverage moves to combat our short-term issues, and we can just list them out. Add monitoring, so that would be like maybe Sentry or New Relic. Identify important user journeys, maybe like that could be the 10 most common actions users do in the app, and implement unit testing, starting with the core app functionality. All right, so let's save that. And every time you improve your user context, the AI agent will know more about you. So all of the advice and all of the categorization, everything it does will be way more relevant and way more targeted for you. So this is the beauty of Vectal. This is why users that actually use Vectal and fill out their user context and sit down for 5-10 minutes and actually define their tasks, they tend to switch from Notion, ClickUp, Todoist, Asana, Trello, whatever they're using, because they simply don't have the AI-powered features. And if you use ChatGPT, it's missing the productivity features, right? It doesn't have the task list. It doesn't have the Kanban board. It doesn't have ideas. It doesn't have notes. It doesn't have calendar. I can go on and on. But let's focus on this system, right? So what's the best way I can structure today? You have to know how many hours you have. Obviously, each day is different. But for all of these steps, if you don't know what to do, having an AI agent that has accurate context on your goals and your problems you're facing is beyond helpful, right? So I can switch to chat mode and I can say, look, today I only have 4 hours. What are the highest leverage things we can do? Let's get practical, okay? You know about my short-term issues. How can I structure today? If I can only do 2 or 3 things, what are the best things I can do today? What should I do first and why? Help me reason through this. And really, the planning part is where a lot of intelligent and hardworking people struggle, right? Some people struggle with the work ethic. They have poor habits. They're not hardworking. But also there's like way more people that I realized that have the drive, have the energy, have the ambition. They just don't know how to structure and how to prioritize. And that's where I was literally thinking about this as I was falling asleep yesterday. What is the complete productive system where you still have the long-term perspective, the long-term structure, and you don't do random, aimless things? That is the worst part, right? Everybody understands that scrolling social media is a waste of time. But what's way more insidious and way more dangerous is all of the busy work. When you think you're being productive, but you're not actually getting anything done. And let's be honest, all of us had days like that. And that is way more dangerous because it's not as obvious. If you scroll TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, you know that you're wasting time. And when you're done with it, you know, okay, I just wasted 30 minutes, 60 minutes, whatever. And you know, like, you punish yourself mentally and you know not to do that again. Doing low leverage tasks, doing busy work is way more dangerous because you often don't recognize it. This is where aimless action must be eradicated. So that's where having some structure, some system, such as the complete productive system, can be beyond valuable. Because if you follow a system like this, and you only work for 2 hours, you will get more done than the person who does 8 hours of busy work, right? Or boom, there's a new email, I need to respond. Oh, I'm getting this notification in this app. Oh wow, there's this news, that's crazy. Let's check out this news. Oh wow, I just spent 20 minutes reading about this local news or this global event. You know, that's not important. But even more than that, like, there's tasks that are maybe urgent in the moment, right? And you have to realize urgent and important is not the same. That's why inside of Vectal, if you look at each task, it has an importance. Because that is what matters the most. I designed this software to focus on what's truly important, not what is urgent in the moment, right? What might be urgent is like taking out your trash. If it's overflowing, it's urgent, right? You probably need to do it. But is taking out your trash gonna build you $100 billion company? No. So it is fine if you do it at the end of the day. But when you are focused, when you have the highest energy, you should be working on the tasks that matter the most. Tasks that are going to eliminate the biggest short-term obstacle you're facing, which is going to take you to your long-term plan, the next stage of your long-term roadmap, which is how you achieve your biggest, wildest, most ambitious long-term dreams. So this is the complete productivity system. You can apply it in any way you want to any goal. Any person can use this to gain clarity and to add structure into their life and to actually maximize the amount of work and progress you do in the time you have. So this is how you should apply it, and I also showed you how it looks for me and how you can apply it inside of Vectal. And the beauty is that you can use Vectal completely for free. Just go to Vectal.ai, sign up. It takes 30 seconds, honestly, and it is much simpler to use than it seems. Hopefully this video gave you some clarity. I know using it for the first time can be intimidating, and that's why I said, like, maybe I'm being too honest, right? We have the high churn because the software it's not obvious what it does. That's why I'm making tutorials like this one to kind of explain it. So it's not obvious what it does, and also the onboarding should do that, right? The onboarding should explain what it does and how to use it, so that we're actively improving this. So by the time you see this and by the time you go to Vectal, hopefully the onboarding is better and more thorough, more complete, better structured. And also bugs, right? Every software has bugs, as I said, but right now, since we're pushing so many updates so quickly, we have probably more bugs than we should. And again, this is not really impacting new users. This is mostly impacting power users like myself, people who have hundreds of tasks inside of Vectal, you know, many different projects. If you just have 1 or 2 projects and you're just starting out, you probably won't even notice them. If you do, by the way, if you do notice any bugs, join the Discord server. You can see it right here below my face. Basically, there's the icon in our Discord server where you can talk to me and all the developers. So if you find a bug, please report it, and we usually fix it in a matter of usually like in a day or two, sometimes within a few hours. If it's a serious, like a clear bug, make sure to describe what you did and how to replicate it. But yeah, you can see that using AI can be incredibly helpful to structuring your life. This is not just a single day, right? These, you cannot define them maybe once every few years, right? This one, you should be changing on a monthly basis. This one, you should be doing on a weekly basis, right? Like doing different things to eliminate the biggest obstacle. And this one, obviously, you want to structure your day every single day. So if you do this every single day, your productivity will drastically increase and you will live your life in an intentional way. You will never find yourself at the end of the day is like, man, I feel like I worked all day, but I didn't get anything done. That's because you lack structure in your productivity system, and hopefully the complete productivity framework can help you get that structure. So yeah, this is how you can use Vectal to apply the complete productivity system. Hopefully you find this valuable. Let me know if you want more of these philosophical, high-level overviews of productivity, because it's hard for me to kind of see how much knowledge I have. And I know that sounds egotistical as fuck, but you know, I've been in this quest of self-improvement and trying to be more productive for basically like 8 or 9 years now. Like literally 8 or 9 years of daily effort, daily struggle of trying to be more productive, trying to improve my focus, trying to increase my work ethic. And I've read books on this, I've watched countless videos, I've tried all of them, Pomodoro methods, deep work methods, time blocking. So I have a lot of knowledge and experience that I don't realize that I have. And when I watch people on YouTube, so that's how I got this idea. I watched a guy who is like way better developer than me, who is very intelligent, like 140 IQ plus, very competent individual. And he was struggling with basic productivity principles because he didn't have any system, any planning, any structure in his life. And I was like, wow, a lot of people don't know these productivity fundamentals. So that's why I decided to make this tutorial. And hopefully you found this valuable. And if you did, the best thing you can do is go to Vectal.ai and start using it. It is a software I built for myself, to be honest, to solve my own problems. But now we have thousands of users, and it is helping a lot of people be more productive every single day. And as I said, you can get started completely for free. We have a free forever plan that you can use. Obviously, if you want access to the best and greatest AI models, we also have paid plans if you want the highest possible limits and advanced features like workflows and Google Calendar integration. We have paid plans as well. But if you want to get started and try it for yourself and use unlimited tasks, unlimited notes, unlimited ideas, all of the main things are unlimited on the free plan as well. Go to Vectal.ai, sign up, takes 30 seconds, and you can start organizing your life in a proper way instead of just trying to remember things in your head or using pen and paper, which is gonna run into some issues sooner or later. That's why task management software exists, and that's why I built Vectal to solve my own problems, and I'm sharing all the things I have learned, all the 8 or honestly, like at this point, it's almost 9 years of lessons, sharing them, compacting them in videos like this one. So if you want to see more of these high-level overviews, let me know, because mostly I make AI videos and AI technical coding tutorials. Yeah, I never make these like philosophy concepts of unique systems that I come up with when I'm struggling to fall asleep. So if you want to see more of this, let me know in the comments, subscribe to this channel, and yeah, that's it. Go to Vectal.ai and give it a shot. See ya.